Now, the conclusion of our week-long look at the future of BC Ferries. We have sailed through the system's history, successes, failures, and a few wrong turns. Yesterday, we showed you one man's big idea, a bridge to the mainland. But tonight, we focus on the short-term changes most likely to be made soon, and what could happen to BC Ferries under the NDP for the first time in more than a decade. The sun was setting on a turbulent era for BC Ferries.
I think I know how David must have felt when he saw Goliath.
When Premier Ujjal Dosanjh called an election in 2001, the BC New Democrats were unpopular with voters and fresh off the Fast Cat ferry scandal.
Absolutely criminal. What a waste.
Now, after more than a decade of Liberal rule, polls indicate voters are poised to return the NDP to power. If they do, will the party try to turn back the clock?
There's been lots of speculation about whether or not this should be returned into government hands as a Crown corporation, but the reality is that will not solve the problems that we currently face with BC Ferries.
We'll take that as a no, but the ferries critic does say the government needs to treat ferries the same way it treats infrastructure such as bridges, roads, and rail. Karajanis says the NDP would also consider these measures to make the ferry more affordable. Make a reservation and you pay less. Book last minute and you pay more. A discount for residents, or a premium for tourists. And
I think we could look at other revenue streams. You know, we have never looked at advertising on BC Ferries, and yet we have a captive audience for at least, an hour and 35 minutes.
BC Ferries is already considering converting several vessels to run on liquefied natural gas. The company spent more than $120 million on diesel last year.
Why should we be guinea pigs?
And in a move despised by many locals, a cost-saving cable ferry will serve Denman Island by the fall of 2014. There is one more move the province could make to potentially generate millions that is churning up debate from Nanaimo right down to the business community on the South Island. Stick a for sale sign on Departure Bay.
I think, it's a stunning piece of waterfront property that at the moment is a parking lot for trucks and cars.
Does the harbour city need 2 terminals? The mayor says yes, but the numbers show Duke Point is taking on water, losing almost $30 million last year. What if it was to operate on its own and Departure Bay rezoned, sold, and developed?
The residential commercial development in Departure Bay ferry terminal property would be very successful. It's got great beach access, protected water out front. This bay is, I would suggest, one of Nanaimo's most underutilized assets and could very much be part of Nanaimo's plan to establish itself as a destination.
Whatever happens on voting day in May and beyond, the ferry system that has served the West Coast since 1960 will always make for great debate.